In this video, I'm going to go over how to create a large number of Mapbook pages. And the first thing to do when you're doing this is to bring up the task pane. And you can do that by using the mapw space command, and that will bring it up. And we're going to be doing this by using a mapbook. And using this method, the first thing to do is create a dummy mapbook page, and in fact create an entire dummy mapbook. So to do that, you're going to select the mapbook tab from the task pane, head over to New, and a new mapbook, first option on the list. And then you'll be greeted with this dialog box. And so the first thing you have to give your mapbook is a name. In this case, it's just the dummy mapbook that we're going to use as a template to create other mapbooks. And so this one the name is not very important, and in fact very few things about it are important. So we're just going to call this one dummy. The next screen is fairly important. This is where you set up the template file that the mapbook is going to use. And this needs to be the same template file that you're planning to use throughout the entire drawing, or at least for the mapbook you're creating. So the first thing you do is pick out a predefined template. I have a number of them already, and I'll send some of these to you. And so just for reference now, we'll use build plan 11 by 17. And bring that up. Now you don't really need to mess with the layout tab here. And in the layout options, I typically don't include adjacent sheet links, so I just uncheck that. You do want to make sure that include a title block is checked. That just makes sure that the title block is included. And then down here you can put in a scale factor. And for our scale factor, we'll do 100. And this scale factor is the most important task of creating the dummy mapbook. What this does is make sure that the viewport rectangle that this dummy mapbook draws is going to be the same scale as the mapbook pages that we're going to use in the actual one. This will probably become a bit more clear in a minute when you can see it visually. But anyway, you put in your desired scale factor there, and then move on to the next tab here, which is the tiling scheme. Now for the dummy page, we're going to do it by number, and so you just click there, and then you will want to the layer in upper left aren't really important to worry about just yet, but the number of rows and columns, you're going to want to set each of those to 1. Now what creating a mapbook by number will usually do is you could give it a number of columns and rows to create a number of pages like that. But in this case, we're only interested in creating one dummy page. And so you just put in 1 column, 1 row, and set the overlap of each tile to 0. Then you're going to hit pick upper left, and just pick a place that's not particularly important. Right there will be just fine. And then, because this is the dummy mapbook, we don't really need to worry about its naming scheme, defining a key for it, defining a legend for it, or defining a sheet set for it. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But if you hit generate, it'll ask you to define a sheet set. We don't want to create it. This is the dummy one. And so now it's created our single mapbook page, and importantly, it's created this viewport rectangle. And this rectangle, I believe, is in layer 0. So if it doesn't appear, that may be something to check out. You'll want to make sure that layer 0 is turned on and is active. And so if you look down here on the layout area, you'll see that we now have dummy A5 listed as a map book. And so we come here and we can see that the template has been dropped in here, and its viewport is the rectangle that's now back in model space. And so now we can use the rectangle that we have in model space to copy and paste it and create more rectangles like it. Now the reason it's necessary, I'll go ahead and copy and paste some of these rectangles in so that we can see where we're going. Now when you are copying and pasting in these rectangles, it's important that they be in their own layer. And so I'm going to create a layer just for them. So I'm going to create a new layer, call it Mapbook layer. And okay, so we're now in Mapbook layer. I've just switched to it. And now here is the important part and where the magic starts to happen. Now you're going to copy the window that was created by the dummy layer and make more of them. And also, you see now that I've highlighted this, it says it's in layer 0. So now we're going to do Control-C to copy. And I'm going to escape now to deselect that. And now we're back in Mapbook layer. And so now I'm going to use Control-V and paste it. And now we have a window that is exactly the correct size for the template's viewport at that particular scale factor. And it's important to copy a identical Mapbook viewport and do it in this way. You can't just create a few polylines or a rectangle or something like that. It has to be an old Mapbook generated rectangle like this in order for this to work. But anyway, you go ahead and copy it, and then you can come up to the route and paste it in and just click, completed it. And so now I'm going to do Control-V again and put another one in right there, and Control-V again, put another one in right there, Control-V again, drop another one in, and keep on trucking, Control-V, dropping these in. And so now we've laid in how many? Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pages so far. And now we'd like to create a plan view for these 14 pages. It's about, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 miles at 100 feet per inch. So now we come back over to Mapbook and create a new Mapbook. And we're going to have the same dialog box again. And so now we name this Mapbook something different. We'll call this Mapbook build plan. And then we come back to the next tab, which is Sheet Template, and go to Settings here. And now you're going to need to set this up in exactly the same way that the dummy was set up. So we're coming here to choose a sheet template, and now I'm going to browse to get back to exactly the same template we used before. being this one. Select it. And then it's going to populate the layout. Don't need to touch that. We're not going to include adjacent sheets here. And we're going to set the scale factor to 100 just like we did previously. Now this is another big part of it. So now under tiling scheme, rather than coming to by number, we're going to come to custom and go ahead and set the overlap back to 0, and then going to come here and select tiles. And when we do that, we're taken back to map space, and now we can come over, and we don't actually have to click through and select each tile. Rather, we can come and draw a rectangle like this. Now this is going to identify a whole lot of entities, but when we select all of the Mapbook rectangles and hit enter, in fact it's only going to recognize those 14 rectangles, and that's why creating the previous Mapbook is important, because it'll only use custom tiles that are generated by another Mapbook. So you do that and it automatically selects it and throws away all the other information. Next we come to naming scheme, and this is important for getting the page numbers into the document. So under naming scheme, we'll come down to sequential, and we will start with number 1 and we will increment by 1. And so that'll take care of our numbering. Next we'll come down to key, and you'll want to come here to layers, and then you select the layers that you'd like to go into your map key. That in this particular template is in the bottom right corner. We've included a key with it. And so we just select which layers we'd like to appear in the key. And so we'll go ahead and turn on bore, and let's turn on plow, and let's turn on the satellite image that we're using right now. And we're not going to include a legend, so that's fine to stay at none. And on sheet set, when you create a map book, it always wants to create a sheet set as well. And so I just try to ignore it. Leaving it on create new is just fine. And so now we've got it all set up, and we can hit generate. And then it asks you to create the sheet set. You don't care about creating the sheet set, so you hit no. And now, looking down in the looking down here, you can see that it's created a bunch of pages now. And so we can come to build plan page 1 now, and you can see that it has taken one of the rectangles and matched it up with the viewport and put it in just exactly where we wanted it. And you can also see that the key right down here has been generated, and it has selected right here. It shows exactly what our viewport is showing with this little window here. And it's been automatically generated. Now I can already see one problem with this, and that is that it is gone in, the numbering is reversed. So the first page here is way up north, and it's further north than we'd like it to be. And so coming back to the model, we can see this more clearly. The numbering that's happening is page 1 is starting here, page 2 is starting here, page 3 is starting here, and so on. And the way this is numbered is actually based on how you the order in which you've copied and pasted these. So order is important with